Hey everyone, it is Friday, April 3rd. I'm here with Ramses at a distance. I kicked him off my lap because he was not really letting me do any work. I am going to read you chapter 3 of the BFG, and it's called The Snatch. During this chapter, the best thing for you to do is try to picture in your head what's happening, because it's kind of a crazy chapter, but there's not a lot of talking. So there's like more description of what's happening. So it's a good idea to try to picture it. Because of that, I want to do like a kind of different question. I think it would be more fun for you guys to draw a picture of the giant and send it to me. You can send it to me on Dojo, or I'm also going to put my email next to this chapter, so that way you can email it to me too. If you can't send it to me or you don't like to draw, that's fine, skip it, but I thought that would be fun. For the next chapter, I'll also draw a giant myself. All right, The Snatch. Under the blanket, Sophie waited. After a minute or so, she lifted the corner of the blanket and peeped out. For the second time that night, her blood froze to ice, and she wanted to scream, but no sound came out. There at the window, with the curtains pushed aside, was the enormous, long, pale, wrinkly face of the giant person staring in. The flashing black eyes were fixed on Sophie's bed. The next moment, a huge hand with pale fingers came snaking through the window. It was followed by an arm as thick as a tree trunk, and the arm, the hand, the fingers were reaching out across the room towards Sophie's bed. This time, Sophie really did scream, but only for a second, because very quickly the huge hand clamped down over her blanket and the scream was smothered by the bedclothes. Sophie, crouching underneath the blanket, felt strong fingers grasping hold of her, and then she was lifted up from her bed, blanket and all, and whisked out the window. There's a little picture of the BFG's arm. And to help you picture this, I'm actually going to grab a Kleenex. So basically, Sophie was in bed, and the giant kind of like scooped her up and is going to be like carrying her around like this. Like, it's like a little pouch, and Sophie is right in here on the inside of the pouch, except this is like her blanket. So I'll keep reading from here. If you can think of anything more terrifying than that happening to you in the middle of the night, then let's hear about it. The awful thing was that Sophie knew exactly what was going on, although she couldn't see it happening. She knew that a monster, or giant, with an enormous, pale, wrinkly face and dangerous eyes, had plucked her from her bed in the middle of the witching hour and was now carrying her through the window, smothered in a blanket. What actually happened next was this. When the giant had got Sophie outside, he arranged the blanket so that he could grasp all four corners, just like our Kleenex, at once in his huge hands, with Sophie imprisoned inside. In the other hand, he seized the suitcase and the long trumpet thing, and off he ran. Sophie, by squirming around the inside of the blanket, managed to push the top of her head out through a little gap just below the giant's hand. She stared around her. She saw the village houses rushing by on both sides. The giant was sprinting down the high street. He was running so fast his black cloak was streaming out behind him like the wings of a bird. Each stride he took was as long as a tennis court. Out of the village he ran, and soon they were racing across moonlit fields. The hedges dividing the fields were no problem for the giant. That means like big bushes. He just hops over. He simply strode over them. A wide river appeared in his path. He crossed it in one flying stride. Here's a picture of the giant doing exactly that. Sophie crouched in the blanket, peering out. She was being bumped against the giant's legs like a sack of potatoes. Over the fields and hedges and rivers they went, and after a while a frightening thought came into Sophie's head. The giant is running fast, she told herself, because he is hungry and wants to get to his home as quickly as possible, and then he'll have me for breakfast. And that's where chapter 3 ends. I am really excited to see your giant pictures. I have a pencil and paper right over here, so I'm gonna get my giant picture ready and I can show you at the beginning of the next video. I will talk to you all later.